probably be comma splices and run-ons.
Run-ons and commas, but that's a very common problem for a lot of people. Okay. And Ming, right? Ming?
Yes.
Ming?
Tenses.
For tenses?
Yes, for tenses.
Okay.
Same with verbs, pretty much probably uses.
And verb tenses.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's focus on those two things today. Okay? So this is what I came up with because students, I mean, you know, we associate things better with food. This is the hamburger that I came up with. What do you read over here at the bottom? What does it say?
Where is the meat senses?
That's it. You know, if we understand in a sentence, what is the core message here? What is the core sentence here? You know, what belongs before and what belongs after. If we know how to separate that element, then we wouldn't have comma slices or rotten sentences. Let me give you an example, okay? Let me first define a meat sentence. Meat sentence is a complete sentence, something that can stand on its own, okay? So if I say, I sit, is it a complete sentence?
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because I have a subject, I, and a sit, that's a verb, two things, right? Okay, so I'm going to draw some sentences here. So if I say, I walk to school yet, I walk to school. Is that a complete sentence? So what do I do with something that comes before a complete sentence? For instance, if I say, yesterday, I walked to school. What do I do with yesterday? Why? Because yesterday is not what?
It's not a part of anything.
It's not the meat, right? That's the upper bread, right? Okay, now the lower bread is coming up, okay? So, yesterday, I walked to school, but I stopped by the mall to do some shopping. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what do I do with, but I stopped by the mall to do some shopping? What do I do with that? Before what? Huh? Right. Before but, right? Those conjunctions. So when you're starting a new a sentence or idea connected by conjunctions such as but, and, you know, or what have you, then you would need a comma. All right. So this is a meat sentence as it is written here on this visual aid that I have brilliantly created. Do you like it, by the way?
It makes me feel hungry.
Sorry
I
about
gotta
that.
go out and eat right now.
So there's no way you can
Some
concentrate.
subliminal messages here.
Okay, but can you imagine yourself, like when you're looking at a sentence, I'm going to look for the meat sentence here.
Right. Well,
Okay.
you never forget that.
You never forget that, right? If you hear a word that starts with because, before, since, while, although, if, until, when, then, after, as if, although, these are, you hear this a lot, right? And sometimes we call it what, transitional words or transitional phrases. So whenever you hear that type of words, that's your cue. You're going to need a comma somewhere. Okay? Because why? Because we want to always protect the meat. We always want to protect the meat from the breads. We want to separate them. Okay? And what is a meat sentence? It's a complete sentence with subject and a verb. I sit, that's a complete sentence. Anything that comes before the complete, it belongs to the bread, so I'm going to need a comma. Anything that I want to include a little more, you know, then I'm gonna treat that as the lower bread. Okay? Simple enough? Now I'm going to pair you up and have you do some exercises on this. And then if you do really well, we're going to move on to tenses. Okay? Easy, huh?